Welcome to Where There's a Wills.
There's a play.
I'm Ian, your mid-complexity casual gamer,
I'm Stacey. I am your non-gamer gamer.
and we are here with another initial impression of.
The Bears and the Bees by Grandpa Beck.
This is a tile laying game. Let's see. Just show you the back of the tiles real quick before we get into it. Kind of card tiles, where you are simply trying to get rid of all the tiles in your hand in a shared space by matching colors of the side of the tile. It's a big honeycomb basically. So let's get into each section. First, the rule book.
Ta-da! The rule book is small, easy to understand. There aren't a lot of instructions in this game. The objective, the overview, the cards, getting going, taking a turn, bonus plays, and going out.
And then it has a nice little common questions section in there, very nicely laid out. Nice little titles with what different things are. And then on the back side is for advanced play. They've got a whole bunch of little variants that you can play. And then, as always, a little story of Grandpa Beck and his family. It looks like, and um, a recipe. Some of the games come with recipe cards. This one has the recipe right in the book.
Whole wheat pancakes or waffles?
Yeah, so I do like that in the rule books, and I mean I guess the card that comes with a lot of games. Yeah, like I said, it's very well laid out. It shows you some examples of things, which is always nice. It has a little story at the top. Um, shows you, like I said, shows you like some examples of what you're doing. Um, tells you where to start. Pretty simple, straightforward, everything. So really nice, I guess, rules pamphlet almost with this one.
Fits nicely in the
Yeah,
box.
really nice in the box. So not much else to say about that one. There's not a whole lot to it because Grandpa Beck's games are a little more accessible, I think, to everybody. So
This one is for ages 8 and up.
oh, I think my board game club kids would actually
I think
really enjoy
so.
this one. This one I think would be a hit. This one I may have to look at getting for my board game club. Um, although we still have what 3 more we have to learn for that. So, all right, on to the setup.
That was pretty complicated.
Oh yes, the
I
setup. The
I
setup
don't want to scare
was very
anybody away
complicated.
with this one.
You put the queen bee in the middle of the table. You stack all of the rest of the tiles into a nice pile. You pull the top one off, and if it's a honeycomb, which that one is not, we'll get into those in a little bit. So let's see here. If it's a honeycomb, you put it above the queen bee, and there's the setup. And then each person gets 9 cards in a 9 tiles, 9 cards. They're thin, so they're kind of like tile shaped cards almost. And then each person gets 9 in a 2-player game, and depending on how many players, you get a different number of cards. That is the entire setup.
It took less than
Yeah,
a minute.
it was pretty quick. It was pretty quick. So, as with most Grandpa Beck's games, they set up fairly quickly because it's just really a bunch of cards or tiles. So that was the setup. Moving on to the components.
I think we've already discussed the components, so this should go
The
pretty
components of the
quickly.
games are literally just a stack of these tiles. They said they're
These
more
are-
card. They're card quality tiles,
Mhm.
and we'll get into that a little bit more. So I mean they're card quality tiles, but they're nice. They're nice. They're thick enough. They're not your kind of cardboard tiles, but yeah. I always have a hard time calling these tiles because when I think tile, I think there has
Cards.
to be thickness to
Like
it.
a
But
Scrabble tile.
yeah, exactly. Scrabble, Azul. I mean, anything with any sort of thickness. Stamp swap, which I just learned. Just anything with. But yeah, it's a tile laying. They call them tile laying games. Board Game Geek refers to these as tile laying games. So it's a tile. It's just a very thin tile. So those are the components on it. That's it.
I think there's
It's
140.
how many are there?
I can't. It tells you in here. I didn't. The
Probably. Oh, so 70 of. Does it say how many total at the beginning?
It does somewhere.
Somewhere.
I saw
But
it.
anyway, it's just a stack of tiles. You place this one in the front. Yeah. So those are the components. That's it. Nothing else. Moving on to Stacy's favorite topic when we talk about these is the artwork.
Yeah. Artwork.
So do we want to go over what the different types of cards are,
Okay.
tiles are first, and then we can show each one.
Okay, so
So,
we've got I guess I could read it out of the book. We've got the drones, the
well,
worker
first
bees.
you
Oh,
have your
first we've got the queen bee,
you got
which
your queen
starts
bee to
out
start, and then you have honeycomb, which
honeycombs.
have nothing on them but different colors on the sides.
And
Okay.
then the drones, the worker bees.
So the drones have honey. So you can see there's yellow, which is one of the colors, but then honey is wild. So that can go next to anything. You'll notice um, that the queen bee has honey all the way around. So that is wild all the way around. And then what else?
The
What's next?
worker
The
bees.
worker bees.
I like the
So
worker
the worker
bees.
bees. You'll see the artwork on these are very simple. There might just be a couple of bees on them. So not a ton. The backs of them are actually really nice. I really like the
Yeah, I
back of
like the
them.
backs. Those are nice.
Yeah.
Very well thought out.
And then
Then the
we have some
flowers.
special things, and this is where the artwork kind of comes in. Is we have some flowers, and you notice the flowers are the hardest tiles to play, which we'll talk about a little more in the gameplay. But the flowers are single color all the way around. We'll talk about how that gets into it. And then finally, there's three bears.
The bears.
And this oh, you did not
Oh,
go there with
I
that.
did.
Oh,
Go, Pack,
oh,
go. Sorry. I'll
yeah.
follow up with
Oh,
that.
yeah. She just had to do
Do we
that.
need to start over?
No. And God, you had to bring that up. The Packers lost today, but they had a
Oh,
good
not
comeback.
against
They had a good
Chicago.
comeback. No,
So
no,
you're good.
no. They had a good comeback today, though. Um, they had a tough one. Jordan Love was coming back from injury, so
Okay.
anyway, so
Those are the.
that's the artwork. I mean, they're pretty simple, straightforward.
But isn't it pretty and elegant?
Yeah, very pretty and elegant. There's not a whole lot to them, but it's very nicely done. You can see these are kind of like it almost looks like leaves on the side of
Mm-hmm.
these. The colors, the colored ones, and then you have the honey, which does have that kind of. It has the hex behind it. You can kind of see it on camera, but it does have the hex behind it and just honey colored. So that is the artwork. On to the gameplay. So as we said, the object of this game is to get rid of all of your tiles. Said you start with the queen bee and then you draw until you make sure you have a honeycomb. That starts the game. When you place a tile, it has to place next to two other tiles. You can't place it next to just one tile. And it has to match. So you can't place things that don't match unless you have a honey, which is wild. So I'm gonna bet we didn't pull anything. Oh, the other thing is around the queen bee, you can only place um honeycombs. You can't place any other tile next to
Can't
it.
place the drones, the
No,
bears, the
so like
flowers.
this one, I could put in here next to it because the yellow is next to the yellow and the green is next to a honey. So that's the basic part to build around your queen bee. Once you start get going, once you start to get going, you can start placing some of these other tiles, which give you some other powers. So the first one is this drone, and the drone has two different colors on it. I believe that's what the and the
The
road.
drone's just the yellow and the honey, I thought.
Oh, it has honey on it. It has
Yes,
honey and one other.
it's mostly honey, so that
So what
you
is the
can.
drone? So the
So the
drones
drones are half honey
and half of one
and
other color.
half
Okay.
other color.
So it makes them fairly easy to play because half of their color, half of their sides are honey. It's not always like this. It could be every other one. It could be three next to each other. But half of the drones are honey. There's no other ability with that one, but so you can place that in there, and when you place that, you just place it. You don't get any special
With the
turn
matching, at least one
with the
matching
match.
side.
Yeah, well, all the sides need to match,
Yeah.
but that one has the honey, the wild, so it does make it a little easier to place it. Then we have the worker bees, and the workers, I believe they have all six colors, have one side of each of the five colors and a wild side. So you notice it has all
Just like Grandpa Beck.
yeah, just
A
like
wild
Grandpa Beck,
side.
as I said, he has a wild side, I guess. So you see, it has all five colors, plus it has one honey side, which is on the bottom right now. Um, and this one, when you place it, what is the official rule for that? Because for us, with two players, the worker and the
So
flowers
worker
all
bees, yep.
all work the same.
They have one side of each of the five colors, and like Grandpa Beck, he's got a wild side after playing a worker bee. Force one player of your choice
Okay.
to draw a card.
So in a two-player game, it's the opposite person. So if you're playing with more than two people, you can choose who gets to take an extra card because, like we said, the goal of the game is to what?
Sorry, my dog's licking my foot.
Oh, of course he is. Um, so like we said, the goal is to go out each round. You play over 3 rounds, and so if you can force people that are starting to go out to draw extra tiles, it's going to take them a little bit longer to go out. Then we have the flowers, and the flowers work. The flowers are the hardest ones to place because they are the same color all the way around. So you need to make sure you can place it next to the same color. The flowers work very similarly to the worker bees in that when you play it, um, all other players must draw a card. So if you can get one of the 5 flowers, there's only 5 flowers. There are 15 worker bees. There's 10 drones. There's 70 honeycombs, and there's 3 bears. So if you can place one of the flowers, you force everybody else at your table who's playing it. It plays up to 5 people to draw an extra tile. Now with 2 players, this and this works exactly the same because there is only one other player. So every other player is just your opponent, and I can only choose one person. So these two work exactly the same in a two-player game as far as the extra ability, but in more than 2 people, you will get to choose with this one, whereas everybody else will take a card with this one.
And can I say something about that?
Yeah.
And since with the 2 players and you make them draw, you don't feel like you're pointing out just one player and being mean to just that one player. Because you have no one else to choose to draw that extra card. So I normally don't play mean to anybody. It doesn't matter who. But this way I didn't feel like I was just pointing out. So
Yeah. So yeah, so this one you play the card, and the other person just has to take one. So
yep.
And then you have the bears. So the bears are very special and they really love honey. So they must connect with the honey side of one other card when played. It doesn't matter what the other sides are. They just have to have one honey side, which they're pretty powerful, but there are only 3 of them in there. Um, once they're played, you give one card of your hand to another player. So once again, with 2 players, you're just giving it to the other player. There's only 3 of these in our game in 3 rounds. One of them came up. I think I got one in the I got one in the first round. That was it. I got one in the first round. There's only 3 of them out of the 100 cards or whatever, so they're not going to come up very often. But you do get to take a card that you have and give it to someone else. So you not only lose one, but they gain one at the same time. So it's pretty powerful. So that's the gameplay. You're just trying to play all your tiles in a shared area. So I do like that part of it. So that's how you play the game. On to the scoring.
I like the scoring.
So the scoring for this one is different than most games in the fact that you don't want points. Um, when you go out, the game ends. I guess we should have said that in the game plan. When you go out, the game ends. It does not matter how many tiles. It doesn't matter if you were the first person in the round or anything. When you go out, when one person goes out, the round is over, and the scoring is kind of backwards. You don't want tiles left. So if you go out, you win the round. You're going to get 0 points, but other people will get points. What are the point totals over there? So we got the honeycombs, which are
The honeycombs are 5 points
so
each.
if you have a honeycomb left in your hand, you get 5 points for each of those.
For the drones, flowers, and worker bees, they're 10 points each.
So if you have any of these in your hand still that you were unable to play, those are 10 points each. And then
the bears are 15
if
points.
you're unable to play a bear, that's 15 points. So you don't want points. So this is in this game, over 3 rounds, you want the least number of points. We played it just a little while ago this afternoon, and Stacey won all 3 rounds, and she scored the perfect 0. So yeah, that was quite interesting. I was like, oh, every time I was like, oh, I'm down to 1, and then all of a sudden she like goes out. She is able to play like 2 cards in a row, which we did not talk about that in gameplay.
Oh no!
If you connect to 3 or more tiles, so if you place a tile and it connects to 3 or more, you get a bonus turn. So it can really string and you get pretty powerful with that. You can make people draw stuff and then you can play more things. Stacey, I think in every round she was able to play two at the end ahead of me, and then I couldn't do anything about it.
I had the uh, worker bees, which made you draw one. Then I put it in the middle so that I
Yeah.
could get all three sides. So you drew, and I got rid of two cards.
Yeah.
So
So the first round I ended up with two cards left, and then I was down to one, and she had two left in the final round. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll finally get a zero, and she was able to play both her cards at the end. Although I did realize that in the first round, I missed a spot where I could have played my last. I didn't
oops.
realize there was a honey spot. We had kind of forgotten about the honey spot in the first round, and I could have went out first, and oh well. But
Gotta
the
read the
scoring's pretty
replays.
easy. 5 points for the honeycombs, 10 points for the workers, the drones, and the flowers, and 15 points if you still have a bear in your hand. On to our final thoughts for this game. Why don't you start?
Like all the other Grandpa Beck games that I've played, I really like this game. It's not just because I got a perfect zero score at the end, but it's also it's matching tiles, but it's matching the colors. And so you're not forced to have to play, in a start section or whatever. If you have the cards to match, you just play it. So you have to look at each card and then you have to kind of go around and see where you can fit it. But it's not necessarily a spatial awareness game, it's just matching colors. So I like that about it. I like that you don't have to be mean with the two-player
Yeah,
scenario. And then there was a rule that I remembered, but I forgot just now to talk about it. What the
I'll think
heck?
about it and I'll give
I'll
my.
think
You think
about
about it.
it and I'll let you know.
Yeah,
What the
like they
heck
said,
was
once
it?
again, as with all Grandpa Beck's games, this is a nice, cozy game. Um, this this will be a weeknight game. I think once we get
Mm-hmm.
playing, it won't take us too long. We didn't have to draw a ton of cards
Oh,
just because
I know
the
what
worker
it is.
bees and all this stuff don't come up too much. I did forget one thing, and that's if you can't play one of your cards, one of your rules is that you can draw a card or you can discard one to draw two more. So we did forget
That's
about
what I
that.
was
Oh,
gonna
was it?
say.
Yeah. So
Yep.
there are other ways you may end up with more cards in your hand, other than someone playing those cards. Like Stacey said, with a two-player game, well, we don't play mean. We know that a lot of drafting type games and other type games you can play where you can play mean and you can force people to do things, which with the flowers and the worker bees, yes, you are forcing people. I mean, the flowers, I guess it's everyone. So the worker bee is really the one that doesn't, that you would choose one person in more than one, and the bear,
Mm.
you would choose one person,
And with
which,
the flowers, everyone
yeah,
takes
and
a
with the flower,
card.
everyone takes it. In a two-player game, you're just playing the game. So yes, you're making them draw a card, but it's because that's the tile you have. I mean, you're making them draw a tile, but that's the tile you had in your hand. You don't have any choice. You have to play that tile. So it didn't feel mean. There are some
Mm-mm.
games where if you do stuff, it feels mean. I'm not even sure if you were playing with 3 to 5, it would feel all that mean, like making one person.
Well, if you just kept picking the same person over and over to keep
It
drawing
yes, I mean if
cards.
you did, but I would think that whoever was playing it would be kind of looking to see how many tiles people had and be
Yeah.
like, okay, you know what, you're getting pretty close, and I'm not, so you're gonna take a tile. Um, but yeah, so I really enjoyed this one. It's a nice cozy game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, not a whole lot of thinking, so it'll be a good evening game. This could be a good like last game of the evening, even on a weeknight,
Mm-hmm.
because you're just like they said, you have 9 tiles in your hand. You're matching colors. You're just matching the colors. Um,
Now, if you are colorblind, that may be a problem because there's no way to
no,
distinguish
no,
between the different colors. So that could be a downfall.
this would not be.
This would not be
It would
for.
not be a color blind friendly, or
No.
even if you're not color blind, but you just have some
Because some of the yellow
difficulties.
is hard to distinguish with the honeycomb color when
Yeah,
you've got a yellow with
so
the
like this, the
honeycomb.
yellow and the honeycomb are pretty close. I could see the other colors. I don't know all the colors for people who can't distinguish some colors
Yeah, there's
who
different
mix
color
up.
blindnesses,
But
so.
it would be hard to um, do that. Now you could. It would take a while, but you could go and put like a symbol or a letter on all of
Mm-hmm.
them. Um, I don't even think you would use the different because you have H for honey, blue, R for red, Y for yellow, P for purple, G for green. You could go through and put a letter on all of them. It would take a while, but you could do that if you wanted to play this. Um, with other people who might have some color blindness or anything. But you know, it's a fun, cozy
Hmm.
game. I really enjoyed it.
I
It was
did
a lot
too.
of fun to play. It was a lot of fun to play.
I did too. I think it would be good, like any Grandpa Beck's game that I've played so far, kids on up to, older people. I think maybe because the cards are so thin, it may be hard for people with dexterity issues
Yeah,
as well. But slide it to the edge of the table. Where there's a will, there's a way.
yeah.
I guess so.
And I mean, you're holding them in your hand,
Yeah,
So, but yeah,
yeah.
drawing a new one off the pile. But yeah, I would agree with Stacey. Like all of our Grandpa Beck's games, this was another hit for us. Grandpa Beck's is one of our favorite companies.
Hmm.
We do enjoy all their stuff.
I'm not sure if we talked about how many rounds you play.
It's three. Yeah,
Did we talk
I think I
about
mentioned
that
it's
during
3 rounds.
before
It's 3 rounds.
scoring?
So
Okay,
every round
you score.
you score every round, and then you shuffle up the tiles. You put the new starting tile up next to the queen bee, and you deal 9 cards in a two-player game, and depending on how many players,
Hmm.
it's a different number of cards. Just realized I better make sure that the queen bee is on top here. Yeah, but another good Grandpa Beck's
Hmm.
game.
I like it.
This one, like
Two
I said,
thumbs up.
yep, definitely. And have you noticed we wore the bears and the bees here? To
And
go with the theme. So yeah, that was Grandpa Beck's the bears and the bees. This one's a fun one, light game, quick game.
gamers, non-gamers alike,
Yep.
I
If you
think would
want
like
something
it.
just fun to play, you want something to play with kids, play with your non gamers. I think your mom would enjoy this one.
Oh, I think so
I think
too.
your sister might enjoy this one. You know,
Yeah, I think so.
between them, she's the least of the gamer,
I
but
think my dad's the least. I don't think my dad would like it.
he might.
He
I think
might.
my parents and my brother might
Yeah.
like it. And I mean, it's got Quirkle esque qualities with the matching of the
Yeah.
tiles. It's not quite as complex because you're not making things, but
Hmm.
yeah. So that was the Bears and the Bees. Have you played this one? Let us know what you think of it.
If there's a game similar that you think we would
Yeah,
enjoy,
if there's another game similar by someone else, or any other Grandpa Beck's games you recommend, we have played I
a
think
few.
5 or 6 of them, but now because we've played all of ours, plus we've played a couple.
We
Uh,
can't play the mutt one.
hmm?
The
Oh yeah,
mutts.
nope. We only have 2 players.
Nuts with mutts or
We saw that one.
nuts
We're like,
for
oh, but that
nuts.
one is three
Mutts and
players and up.
nuts.
If it was 2 players, we'd probably get it, even though that one is like 5-year-old and up. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Oh, here.
that was
Or the antiquities. We don't have that.
Antiquity Quest. I believe I have that one at school. I believe that one is in my school. We've played Cover Your Assets, Skull King,
Gnoming
Gnoming
around.
Around. What was the one we
Uh,
learned last week? We just learned. Oh my god.
yep.
We just learned another one last
Another
week.
one.
That was one of their newer ones that we own that we bought. I can't think. Of, we did an initial impressions on it last week.
We sure did.
I can't think of it. I'm tired. I'm tired. It's been a long couple of weeks for me with school and volleyball and stuff, and just some extra weekend stuff going on. So it's been a really long couple of weeks. Coming to a winding down though. So anyway, if you like Grandpa Beck's, if you like any games that are similar to this, let us know. Let us know what Grandpa Beck's games you like. Let us know what if there's any games similar to this you think we might like. If you like this video and want to see more, please hit that subscribe button up above so you can see when we post new videos. And if you want to see the rest of our initial impressions, you can follow that link up above. Once again, this has been Where There's a Wills.
There's a play.
I'm Ian,
I'm
and
Stacey.
we'll see you next time.
At the table.